Hello, hello. My name is Sarah. Welcome back to HR SOS Navigating the Chaos, where we talk about HR topics and a little bit of everything and growing your business and becoming the business, the entrepreneur, the creator that you want to be. So, just as normal with these calls, in the bottom corner opposite of me, you are going to see me painting. Normally, I paint flowers, but today I decided that I was going to get into fall. And I know it's only mid-August, so I'm probably rushing it a little bit, but that's okay. I have some leaves over there that you will watch me paint, and I hope you enjoy it as we move through our topics of today. And I believe that we're going to hit 3 to 5 topics, depending on how fast I talk and how fast I get through this. I do have them off to my left, so if you see me glancing over there, that's just my notes to make sure that I don't forget anything. So first, we're going to talk about our journey and how we talk to ourselves. So we can uh, we can either talk to ourselves positively or we can talk to ourselves negatively. And there's some gray parts in there. But one of the tricks I'm going to have you do today is something that happens to me a lot, being an entrepreneur, being a consultant, being what my family and some of my friends think is not having a real job. And one of the things that I've had to do over the course of time is add the word yet to my repertoire. So when people are like, "Oh, have you done XYZ?" I haven't done it yet, but I will be, right? And it's allowed me to explain certain things and how I do them in a way that makes sense for me, right? So, um, have you gotten that client? No, I haven't gotten them yet, but I'm working on it, right? It gives you that wherewithal or that gumption to keep going ahead because it's yet. You will do it. You just haven't done it yet. And it can change your mentality, adding that little bit of a word onto onto the end of things as you explain them to people that don't quite understand what you do, right? And this also is a concept of just. So we're going to add yet to things that we say, but we're going to remove just from things that we say. So a lot of times in my past, I have said, I'm just a consultant. I'm just um, I just paint for fun. No, I paint for fun. I don't just paint for fun. I am a consultant. I am not just a consultant. So I used to diminish myself by using those words. And when it comes to being an entrepreneur, a creator, a lot of times that's what happens, right? People are like, oh, well, that's not really a thing, right? You're just a crocheter. You're just a knitter. You're just a woodworker. It's not a real job. So you're just. No, you need to take that out of your repertoire and correct people that are saying it because it can really mess with you mentally when you're trying to build that business. You're amazing. And you need to tell the world you're amazing. And if somebody tries to tell you you're not amazing, then ugh, correct them. Okay. And if you don't feel comfortable correcting them, find a group of people, find a circle that will help you correct them. Trust me, the right circles on social media, people will correct people for you. You don't even have to do it, but you got to build that circle, right? Find those people that are not going to let you use the word just, that are going to correct you and encourage you to use the word yet. And they're going to have that positive mindset for you that will lead us to that third thing of it's so easy to compare ourselves to other people, right? And like I just said, on social media, it's hard to get away from some of those people that are judging, especially the people that you don't know. But if you bring in a circle, if you find that group of people that's doing the same thing you are, right? That are trying to either build a business or create things or just have a side gig, right? That they're trying to build their hobby into something that actually is lucrative. If you find that circle of people, they're going to support you in ways that you never thought you needed to be supported, let alone could be supported. I know some people have found that tribe unalignable, that circle unalignable. I have found it started there, but now mostly my circle is kind of off there and in other areas. I love LinkedIn. I have found some wonderful people that support me on there. Other people have done it with Facebook groups where you join a Facebook group that is similar to your goals and you find that group of people that you just connect with that start building you because you're building them. And I mean building up, not, I mean, you can help them build their business too, but I mean building them up, right? Letting them know that their craft is amazing, letting them know that their business idea is great, and giving that true tangible feedback, right? We're going to get into that here in a second of giving feedback to people. That's one of the things I want to talk about today. And because something happened this week with somebody that wasn't very good at giving feedback, and it kind of impacted my my day on Thursday and Friday. But comparing yourself to others is such a damaging thing. You want to compare yourself to who you were yesterday and who you want to be tomorrow. And as long as you're focusing on becoming a better person, focusing on doing better and being better and finding your own path, then that comparison will be simply to, I was good yesterday and I'm going to be better today. And tomorrow I'm going to be even better, right? I am going to do amazing things and I'm going to take one step forward each and every time. Now, some days it might be a quarter step forward, or some days it might just be status quo. But you want to focus on comparing yourself to who you were yesterday and what you were doing yesterday, not to other people. They have a different path than you. They have different goals than you. They have different capacity and time and all of those things than you. That doesn't make them better, doesn't make them worse. It doesn't make them more successful. And I'll be honest with you, most people on social media are fabricating their success. So when you see somebody be like, oh, I made $1 million in 6 months. No, they didn't. Because if they were making $1 million every 6 months, why would they be telling you how to do it? Right? They would simply wait and make $10 million every 6 months and become a millionaire in their own right. So don't listen to people that are like trying to act like they are the best thing since cream cheese. Just know that you are the best thing since cream cheese and you are going to become better tomorrow. And now we're going to move on to some more hard topics about HR and how these things that I just talked about can mesh in with some of those things. So we are going to move again into giving feedback and getting feedback. And last week we talked a little bit about the sandwich method, but this past week it actually came into my life again on how some people are just not good at giving feedback. So I want to walk through the three kind of main types of giving feedback, right? So the first one is positive feedback. This is reinforcing good behavior, right? This is, and I'm going to make a kind of a joke here. It's, giving M&Ms to the kid on the toilet when he actually uses the toilet, right? Yay, you used it. Here's an M&M. But for adults, it's when somebody's like, hey, what do you think of this? And you give them all the positive things, right? That is, reinforcing. You want them to do those good things over again, and you want them to be successful at it. Constructive feedback is suggesting improvements, right? You're not like you have to change this, but it's suggesting improvements. And that is where you're like, you know what? I really like that, but I think the red is too bright. Maybe you should consider, toning down the red a little bit. Or, that those two fonts just they don't make my eyes, or they're hard on my eyes or something like that. And, I suggest that you try maybe a different font, maybe not bold or something like that. Um, Suggesting those things is saying, this is my preference. My preference is a lower red. But if you absolutely love red, you leave that color because there's no bearing on, long-term success if you use the wrong red. Okay. And it's not even wrong because you like it. I just don't. Right. And so constructive feedback is suggesting that. Negative feedback is pointing out shortcomings without giving guidance or without saying, this is my opinion. So negative is like, that red sucks. Okay. And right. Like, that isn't very helpful. You're not even saying it's your opinion. You're not saying why you think it is bad, that type of thing. So negative is simply just almost rude feedback. And that is the one we want to avoid, right? That's the one we want to avoid. And one of the best ways to do this is to make sure that you're thinking about how would you receive that. If somebody just came up to you and was like, oh my gosh, that red is so ugly. And your first thought would be like, why, what? Oh my gosh. And you would take it all in, right? But if somebody came up to you and said, hey, I have an opinion. I'm wondering if we just tried a different color red, more maroon, maybe it would look good. Can we just try that real quick and see if it works? Now, if you're crocheting and you have yarn, there's not much you can do, right? I'm talking more just in general, trying other things. But actually coming up to somebody and doing it in a non-rude manner can help get your point across a lot better. Now, also, don't give feedback unless it's warranted or asked for. So if you're in a situation where somebody's literally like, hey, what does everybody think of this? And you give an opinion, that's wonderful. But if somebody is truly, proud of something and you start pointing out all the shortcomings, you want to ask yourself why. Why are you doing that? Right. And I will use my art. You're looking at art in the side there, right? I'm painting as we speak. Well, not really, because here's my hands. I painted before I spoke. But I love to paint. Am I a, professional painter who sells my stuff? And we went to an art show today earlier, and there were paintings of sailboats that were selling for $1,200-$1,500, and I'm sitting there looking at them thinking, I could do that. But did I tell the artist that? No. I told the artist how beautiful it was, and I wish I had $1,200 because she put her heart and soul into those. And I have people that tell me my paintings aren't that great, and that's fine. You don't have to like them. I love them. You can't really see them, but they kind of line up behind me here over that TV. They're kind of lined up against a pipe along the ceiling so far. I may have to find a better spot for them because they're going to run out of space here soon. But I enjoy it. And if somebody came up to me with rude feedback or negative feedback without any opinion behind it or a way for me to do it better, I would be hurt, right? And I have been hurt because some people have said that. They're like, your art's not that great. I'm not selling it. I do it for fun, so it doesn't matter. But I know a lot of you are working with a lot of people who are very creative in their own right, and knowing how to give that positive feedback where you're reinforcing good behavior, right? Or constructive feedback where you're suggesting improvements, and avoiding negative feedback where you point out shortcomings without guidance, if you focus on those three things, your communication with your peers and to grow your business with your vendors and all of that are going to be so much better. So I don't like the sandwich method. Okay. So, constructive feedback, my recommendation to you is to make sure that you are starting things off with this is just a suggestion, or this is my opinion, or I did it this way. Maybe you could try that, right? Something that allows them to understand this is just you, your opinion on what they're trying to do. And you're not saying that they're doing it wrong. You're not saying that they should change. You're just saying maybe it's something to consider. And that's the best way to give constructive feedback, especially in the creative world where everyone's creativity comes out differently. And everybody's idea of beautiful and matching and all of that, right, comes out differently. And we have no right to tell someone that they're doing it wrong when it's something artistic, creative, in that realm. So make sure that you're using that constructive side of things where you're saying, this is my opinion, this is my suggestion, or I've tried this before. Would you like to try it? Something to that effect, and you'll get a lot better feedback and you'll make better connections. And then yourself, right? One of the things that I will say, especially if you're growing a new business, is you're going to get on social media. You're going to post your creations, maybe for the first time, maybe just for the first time in a while. If you've had social media for a while and you're just starting to like put it out there, you are going to get people that don't like it. And that's all right. You like it. And the people that want to buy your crafts will be there, be waiting, and be ready to accept the things that you create and love the things that you create. So the few people that don't even buy your stuff anyways, that say it's bad or it's ugly or why are you doing this? It's easy for me to say just ignore them, but try to just ignore them. Okay. And there's a simple block on every social media where if somebody gets too vocal with their opinions, you can block them. And if you don't know how to do that, find somebody that's good on social media and they can show you how to do that. Okay. So anybody that's, has their own business, you can reach out to me. I can show you how to do it. It would be hard to explain to words. I want to be able to show you. But anybody can show you how to block somebody that's been doing this for a hot minute. But with everyone else, except those negative Nellies online, it's having an open mind, right? So if somebody were to suggest to you, again, we're using the red thing, to use a different color red, then it might make it match better, or it might make it pop better, or whatever the wording is you want to use. Maybe just say thank you for the suggestion and keep an open mind for making that change in the future. You don't have to tell them, no, this is not the thing. This is my way or no way, my way or the highway, or whatever we say, right? Just kind of accept it with an open mind and smile and say thank you for the suggestion, and you move on. You don't have to make the change. If they're coming through in a positive or a constructive manner just to give you their perspective or their opinion, just take it. It's the negative Nellies that we want out of our head, right? The suggestion people, let's keep them around. They might buy something if you change red, right? Kind of being sarcastic, but you get the point. And also using it for personal development. We're going to take away the red thing here, and we're going to get to my example of this week. So my example of this week is sometimes on the side, I do create things for people, websites, logos, different things. And this week I had somebody coming at me with very kind of negative energy. And I knew that this was not a good fit. And one of the keys to this, and remember I told you you could block people on social media, but you can also do that with people that are, you're working with. If a vendor and you aren't getting along and there's just no way to mesh, find a new vendor. If you and a client are not working well together, just say, I'm sorry, this is not working. I'll give you your money back and you can go find somebody that can create this for you. And I actually had to do that this week. I had to take my own mental state into consideration and say, is this worth it or not? And it wasn't worth it for me. The amount of money to the amount of exchange that I was getting out of this, I had to say I'm not getting any personal development. I'm definitely not getting any financial development. And so based on his feedback that he wasn't happy with anything I was doing, right? Like literally nothing I was doing was making him happy. And I had to say, well, with your feedback, I'm going to say, I'm out of here. And I want you to find somebody else to do this for you. And it was freeing. It really was. And it'll be freeing for you too. Just because somebody pays you does not mean you have to take crap from them. You do not have to take their negativity. You can say, yep, here's your money back. I am going to, whatever I did create for you, I'm going to use it for something else. But here's your money. I'm going to just be done with this. And I wish you all the luck in the world. And it's okay to do that. So you don't have to internalize that and just say, well, just because you're paying me, I have to deal with this. We're not in a retail situation like we were, back in the day where, the customer is always right. No, the customer is not always right. In fact, for a lot of us, the customer is never right. And that's why they need us, right? If the customer knew exactly what to do, they would be crocheting their own blanket. They would be building their own website. They would be making their own wood pens. They would be doing all of these things, right? But they're not. And they're hiring you to do it. And therefore, they need to understand that you have a process and that you're going to do it your way and provide them with a beautiful, beautiful item in the end. But if they're not willing to work with you, we have to separate and we have to move on with that. So if their feedback is causing you undue stress, I'm not going to say any stress because all clients, right? But if it's causing you undue stress, remember, you can step away. You are more important, and you will find the clients that fit with you and the people that love your work and the people that are willing to communicate and work with you to get wonderful products. All right, so now we're going to get into a topic that kind of has nothing to do with anything we've talked about so far. But this past week, I was working with a client on solving some HR problems, which is what I do. I'm an HR fixer, right? I solve problems that people don't have the capacity or the ability to fix. But this week, I was working on standard operating procedures. And I sent the client a list of things. I'm like, send me what you currently have for this. And they called back instead of emailing, very, very confused. Like, what do you mean? This is what I'm having you write. Well, no, I get that. You're having me do this, but I need to have a starting point. Like, I need to know where you are. And they're like, we don't have any of that. And I'm like, wait a second. So you have like 50 some employees, but you don't have a PTO policy. You don't have a reimbursement policy. You don't have any of these things. And it's like, how are people like doing this? Oh, well, we just tell them. And, if they don't get it, we just tell them again. Okay. So it was very confusing to me because I normally work with people that have bad policies, not that have zero policies. And so we're starting from scratch, which is very fun. But it led me to a lot of things that I wanted to share with starting a new company. A lot of people think, well, if I write something down or I give somebody information or I share that they're going to use it, steal it, take it. And that could be correct for your creations, right? If you tell somebody your new, you know, knitting technique and they go off and, create a bunch of things using your technique, that would be bad, right? I mean, you wouldn't want to necessarily share that until you're ready to share that. But a lot of people have YouTube channels where they show knitting techniques, new ones, new fandangled ones, old ones, best practices, all of that. But when it comes to your policies, right? Like those hardcore policies when you're starting a business, don't be afraid to write them down. Do not be afraid to write them down, because at some point in time, we talked about this last week, you want to hire an employee and you want to be able to say, um, in order to order new supplies, you go through this business, this website, this is my budget, XYZ. And if that's not written down and you have to explain it verbally to somebody 10 times, that's going to get really old. It would be so much easier if you're like, here's the process, here's the procedure, right? And you can say, if you have questions, let me know. And then you give that person the push to actually be self-sufficient in their role and to grow and learn in their own way. So sometimes people don't learn verbally, right? Sometimes people don't learn just simply by reading. Sometimes people learn by doing, or all three of these things put together. But by giving it in a written form, a format that, and sometimes SOPs can be visual too. Like you can record a YouTube channel, record like a YouTube video to show people how to do something. But don't be afraid to think like it is okay to share. It is okay to write those things down, and it'll make your life so much easier in the end. So if you have a process, even right now, right? You know that you only work with one vendor, and that vendor's name is Mary, and Mary checks her email every Tuesday and Thursday. So if you send something on Friday, you're not hearing back till next Tuesday. That's a process that you should have written down in case somebody else ever needs to do it. Maybe you don't hire an employee, but maybe you, worst case scenario, right? You sprain your ankle and somebody else has to work with Mary for a couple of days to get you supplies for when you come back on. So now your husband's trying to figure it out. You're trying to explain it to him. And wouldn't it just be better if you could hand him a process that says, here is how you do it. Can you please order my supplies for me? And it will go swimmingly better. Now, some of you are like, oh Lord, do I have to give it to my husband? No, you can give it to your best friend or another crafter, or somebody that is in your circle. I just use that as an example. But my point is that writing things down will help you in the future when you have people, but it will also help you now, right? Having a set binder, a Google Drive folder, however you want to use this, to have those policies where they're at your fingertips, so you don't also have to remember them. I know if I only have to do something every 2 or 3 months, I forget how to do it. I have to file taxes every 2 to 3 months. I shouldn't say that. It is really every quarter. So why do I say every 2 to 3 months? But every quarter I have to file taxes. Every quarter, I forget exactly what I'm supposed to do. I have a checklist to make sure that I'm filing the right stuff, doing the right thing, checking the right boxes. Because when you only do something occasionally, you will forget. So writing things down will help you also. So, that is it for today. I appreciate everything and all of your watching and all of your support with all of this. And I know that these shows are being aired on the Roku and Fire TV channel for the Creative Spirit. And it's also available on their website. So check that out. Check me out, obviously, because mine's the best video. That's why you're here watching it. But definitely check out everybody else. There are some amazing new creators, crafters, business owners, and everybody in between on this channel who are there to boost each other up and share the goals and wonderfulness and the creativeness that they bring to this world. So I appreciate your time, and I look forward to hearing from you if you want to grab time on my calendar. And I hope you all do better. I hope you all be better. And I look forward to seeing your path as you go off the beaten path in the future. Have a great day.